course, watching the situation in Myanmar very closely. Let's get to our big focus now. Benjamin Netanyahu has made a comeback as Prime Minister of Israel after his right-wing coalition won 64 out of 120 seats in the Knesset. Netanyahu defeated the sitting Prime Minister Yair Lapid, his staunchest rival. The longest-serving Prime Minister Netanyahu will now head the most right-wing government in Israel's 74-year history. Let me go across to Iran Edzion, non-resident scholar at Middle East Institute. Thank you very much for joining us, Iran. Tell us what really worked in favor of Benjamin Netanyahu. How was he able to come to power with such a strong majority? Who was the kingmaker for him?
Well, it's not really such a strong majority. If you look closely at the numbers, a few thousand votes here and there would have made a tremendous difference because of the intricate composition of Israel's electoral system. It's obviously not like the American system, but the difference between the popular vote and the final outcome is significant. However, he was able to do it, Netanyahu, first of all, because he is a master politician. As you said, he's been around for the longest time, even more than Ben-Gurion. He has been prime minister, not consecutively, but 16 years, which is obviously a huge number in Israeli terms, in every term maybe. And he's very savvy in the art and practice of political campaigns. So this is number one. Number two, as always, one needs a particular combination of circumstances, including mistakes made by the other side, who failed to galvanize as a ruling coalition and to do what is necessary in order to win elections. The campaign that Lapid ran was pretty poor. Other parts of his ruling coalition did not perform very well in the campaign. And ultimately, they lost a whole left-wing party called Meretz, which was in the Knesset for decades. It's the first time that it fell out because it failed to cross the electoral threshold of 3.25%. It missed about 4,000 votes altogether in order to do it. So, as I said, a combination of skill, luck, and a particular moment in history, because what is happening in Israel is not unlike the nationalistic populist wave, which is sweeping across many countries, including countries like Hungary, Poland, the US. We'll see what happens in the midterms, but it looks like there's going to be a red wave there too. So Israel is not an isolated island. And Netanyahu
Iran, if I may ask you, this is being called the most right-wing coalition in Israel's history. What will this mean for Benjamin Netanyahu's policies domestically and his foreign policy?
Yeah, I think there's no question that this characterization is true. It is the most rightist, hard right, extreme right government we ever had. For the first time, there is a very significant party that sits in that coalition, which is openly racist, comprises of bigots, some of them with a dark history of allegations and even trials for accusations for support of Jewish terrorism, for racism against Arabs and so on. Many of them did not chose not to serve in the IDF, in the Israeli army, or were even rejected by the IDF at the time because of their extreme views, as absurd as it sounds these days. And some of them are going to be cabinet members in very sensitive positions. So it is an unprecedented phenomenon in our history. And the overall shift to the right that has happened in Israeli politics basically since Yitzhak Rabin was murdered 27 years ago, almost to the day, November 4. This movement to the right is now culminating in the creation of the rightist ever Israeli government, comprising of ultra-Orthodox, ultra-nationalists, bigots, racists, and led by Netanyahu and his Likud party, which is now finding itself as more of a center-right or right-of-center party surrounded by parties that are either more rightist or more ultra-Orthodox
Iran,
when you
we're
said
running
in
out
your
of
opening
time.
statement-
I'll ask you
Sorry,
one quick question about
Yeah,
the corruption
just
trial
one-
against Netanyahu. What happens to that now? How will he counter that?
That's an important question that everybody's asking. Nobody obviously has the answer. He denied during the campaign when he was confronted with the question, what are you going to do about your trial? Will you try, if you're prime minister, will you try to somehow stop the procedures, annul the procedures, do all sorts of tricks in order to halt the process? He denied it. But some of his partners openly said that they're going to do exactly that. So we'll have to wait and see. There is obviously a huge question if such a procedure is even legal, possible. Will it withstand scrutiny by Israel's Supreme Court? It's going to be an interesting point to watch.
All right. Thank you very much, Iran Itzian, for joining us here, giving us your view on the Israel election and significance of Benjamin Netanyahu coming back. We're going to take a short break, but coming up, we take a deep dive into the US midterm elections and why the inner circle of Donald Trump may actually be planning for a 2024 election bid. A special conversation with Ali Wine, senior analyst at the Eurasia Group, coming up.